Hey everyone! Today I want to talk about something incredibly crazy that happened a few days ago. On May the 18th, a fellow indie dev that I follow named Thomas Stewart published a video game called "I'm making a fishing game that's actually fun."
Today I want to show you how I took this prototype and turned it into this in the course of a couple of months, and I want to talk you through every major design decision that I made along the way, what that process has been like for me, and show you where the state of the game is right now because I think it's in a really good spot. Now,
when I watched his devlog, my jaw dropped.
No way! No way! No!
His game looks absolutely amazing, but shockingly, it's incredibly similar to the project I've been working on in secret for months. To give you some background, I was actually working on a 2D sports video game called Medal Winners. If you follow this channel, of course you'll know it. But at some point I decided to suspend that project to make an incremental game instead. Don't worry, I will follow it in the future if you like it. Why? Because I absolutely love incremental games. They are really trending right now, and honestly, I just love fishing in real life. And that's the first crazy coincidence. Just like Thomas shows in his video, we both share a real-life passion for fishing.
some people have asked me, Thomas, why are you building a fishing game? Just kidding, nobody has asked me that because everybody loves fishing games. But I'll tell you why anyway. I'm building a fishing game because I like fishing in real life, and my editor is going to insert some clips here proving that I actually love fishing in real life.
I was planning to show my game much later, but since Thomas is building something with a very similar core loop, I wanted to make this video. I don't want anyone to accuse me of copying his work later on. I want to show you proof that I've been actively developing my game since December last year, 2025, and use this opportunity to compare our projects, showing the crazy coincidences but also the massive differences that make them two completely unique games. So here we are on itch.io, on my account DualGen Studios, on my dashboard, and here you can see all the games that I've made on the jams. But I have some private things like that Darío Juego de la Isla, which if we go to the analytics, you can see that on the 12th of May it was viewed and played by Darío, who is my play tester. This is very private, so I sent it to him. And now we'll see the game. In the edit we see Darío Juego de la Isla in the title, and we view the page. We run the game, and you'll see that's my Godot game, and you'll see the game that I'm making. I don't want to cut this part, so you see that this is the game, and this is the prototype. It doesn't have the sound. Those images belong to my game, which are AI, and that's my game. You see, that's the game. It's in Spanish because Darío speaks Spanish, but don't worry, I'll show you things in English. That's a tutorial, and that's a proof. Last week Darío played my game. I have more proofs if you want, but if you see my game, you'll see that it's a game quite complex and that I didn't do it in 2 days, of course. This is a game I've been working for a long time. Before we jump into the comparison, I want to clarify I don't know Thomas personally, and he's definitely not sponsoring this video. But his game looks so beautiful and well designed that I highly recommend you to go and check his video out and wishlist Just Keep Fishing on Steam right now. Let's support his work. I'll also leave a link so you can wishlist it on Steam. Now let's look at the coincidences first, because it's a perfect example of parallel thinking in game design.
1,
So my primary idea with this fishing game started out as an idea where I just wanted a little island environment where I could spawn fishermen and they could cast a rod, have a little bobber that floats in the water, and then reel in fish. And that was the whole idea of the game. I thought, hey, if you could get other people to fish for you and get a lot of different fishermen, then you can collect a lot of fish, buy upgrades, and I think that would be a pretty interesting game.
And the same thing happens in my game. You have a lot of different fishermen fishing for you, and you can buy upgrades too. In my game there are two main characters, Mila, who tries to find snails and take them to a base, and Kai, who tries to get marine diesel and other fluids from the ship. Later in the game you can call hundreds of helpers that can catch fish or different food and fluids from the ship. You may wonder why there is a ship there. Well, in the game there is a cruise ship that capsized after striking a rock near the island.
And so my first idea was, well, what if you had a little guy that you could have run around? I think that would be really fun. He could just run around and do all of the easy work of picking up the fish, and they can just plop into the center fishing base or his house or whatever it is. And I thought that would be pretty interesting as a player. You know, you could build out these island environments and you can control the player's speed and movement and give him some upgrades. So you'll probably see on the screen here that my first iteration of what I wanted the upgrade shop to look like. I made a basic pop-up that constituted what I wanted the shop to look like. You collect fish and you can buy stuff with the fish that you collect. And so the things that I had on top of mind were things like shoes to make the player movement faster, a different rod that you could equip the fishermen with so that they could catch different kinds of fish and catch them faster, and then a bobber. I think originally actually the rod was supposed to make you catch fish faster, and the bobber was supposed to change the types of fish that you can cast, and then a big upgrade for new land mass chunk, which I thought was going to be a really big facet of the game.
In the case of my game, you have different upgrades too. The hose, which allows you to get faster fluids from the ship. The fishing hook, which makes you more efficient for fishing. The steady trot, which is that running shooter to be faster. Overtime, which allows you to have more time during the day. Big basket, which improves your capacity. A hand axe to get wood. A spade to find treasures. A multi-click, so you can click less times. And then you have specific upgrades depending on who the character is. For example, Mila can find treasures, and Kai can use his axe to get wood.
Felt like we were doing good work. So then I got to the point where I was like, okay, let's restrict the amount of time that the player can be fishing and then force them into the upgrade screen. So I put a 30-second timer on, and then the shop upgrades would just pop up automatically, and then you could buy the upgrades, all that good stuff. And I thought that was a pretty good direction, because then you're just not fishing forever, and you have some sense of urgency to how much fish you can collect in the next 30 seconds.
In my game, there aren't 30 seconds, but there is a day-night cycle. You catch fish during the day, and then at night you buy upgrades. I thought I was very original, but it's very similar to his 30 seconds. However, later in the video, Thomas says that he implemented a day-night cycle. I couldn't believe it.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You need a day-night cycle. You need the sun to set. You need the pretty orange, what do they call that, golden hour? Like little golden hour sunset, and then everybody goes to sleep at night, right? So I was like, day-night cycle. Of course, we need that. So that's something that I implemented.
In my game, different types of fish appear also randomly on the water, in the same spot, but the different type of fish every time.
I started adding a new fish type, so you can see that you can catch clownfish now, and the fishermen that you recruit can also passively catch clownfish.
5.
So then I started implementing the upgrade tree, and this is like the quintessential part of every incremental game. You need to be able to unlock nodes and incrementally increase the power of the player and all of that. So I started getting that working, you know, locking stuff, giving everything a cost, making sure that what you buy actually affects the game world.
Both games feature different types of fish. Luckily, they are not the same types. He uses clownfish, for example, while in my game there are specific Caribbean species. Plus I include non-fish creatures like snails, crabs, octopuses, lobsters, and rays. In my game, there is no traditional skill tree. Instead, you select a specific character from your team, which takes you directly to a menu displaying all their unique statistics. From that screen, you can buy individual upgrades for that character if you gathered enough resources. This approach changes how you progress, allowing you to invest directly in a specialized role of a team member rather than unlocking linear nodes on a standard map.
6.
So I decided maybe we should have schools of fish that appear randomly in the water.
In my game, there are also different resources that appear randomly on the screen, always in the same place, but what changes is a different type of fish or crab or whatever appears. So then you decide what type of fisherman you send. For example, if there are tuna fish, you have to send the tuna fisher, of course. If there are lobsters, you send the pot fisher. If there are crabs, you send the crab fisher, and so on. The same thing happens with the fluids that appear on the cruise ship. You can gather different types of them, but you have to choose which one is active that day. That's why this is an incremental game, but it's also an active clicker game.
6.
Now we come to the next major design iteration. When I say major, it's not as major as switching from top down to a player-controlled character, but it's still pretty major, and it's the idea of the player having a backpack, which may be controversial to some. Having an inventory, having a limited capacity of things that you can carry, but I really like it.
And I really like it too. In my game, the capacity icon is a basket, not a backpack, but it's the same concept. Another coincidence with Thomas. And in my game, when a unit is more expensive, it has more capacity too.
7.
I also implemented something besides fishing. I know that this is primarily a fishing game, but then I thought, well, if you're going to be exploring new places, what if you could pick up other stuff? And so I made a berry bush, and you can go to the berries, and in the code, the berries are fish. That's how they are in the code, which is hilarious. You have fish that grow on a bush and they look like berries, but then you can collect them and then go deposit them and they look like berries, but in the code they are fish, which is hilarious. I love game development.
In my game, there are no berries, but Mila can find different treasures, including food. For example, she can find cows, she can find different types of fruit from the Caribbean, or she can find hidden objects, ornaments, or useful things like weapons. Now let's go with the differences between the two games.
10.
The biggest difference is that Thomas' game is a peaceful, cozy experience. My game, not so much. My game has 4 different types of pirates. For now, there is a pirate slasher, fast and deadly at close range. There is a woman with a carbine, she attacks from distance. There is the brutal smasher, who is very tough and destroys your buildings. And there is the amphibious rider, who emerges from underwater by surprise. These pirates attacks you some nights and they try to kill you and to steal your resources. To balance the chaos, my game also features peaceful visitors that Thomas Games doesn't have. For example, there is Antonio, a mysterious man who will visit the island. You learn his secrets and what he wants when you finally get to play the game. Another difference is that in Thomas' game, the island is different every time. In my game, it's always the same island, at least in the first level.
Actually, I thought this would kind of be like a forager-like game. If you've played the game Forager, you unlock adjacent islands and then it expands your ability to play and collect different things. And I thought exploration was going to be a big part of this game early on. I liked the idea of you get enough fish, you can unlock a new chunk of land, it rises up from the water, and then you can go explore it, buy new fishermen, find new stuff, all of that.
Some other differences, well, in my game, you gather fluids from the cruise ship. You also use buttons to call your helpers. In my game, some helpers use canoes because they need to go far from the beach. There's also a gill net that catches fish automatically, no matter if it is day or night. There are special mechanics too. For example, there is a sugar mill that produces food at the end of the day. Another big difference with Thomas' game is that you can build water wells, veggie patches, large houses or small cabins. Finally, I'll talk a bit about the goal in my game. The first one is to survive. You are cast away on an island, so you need to survive. The second one, well, it depends on you. You want to go back home, or the island will be your home? Okay, so the conclusion now. It's really interesting to see how two developers from two different countries can start with similar ideas, share a real-life lab for fishing, and naturally arrive at similar mechanics while creating completely different worlds. Thomas is making an incredible game with Just Keep Fishing, so seriously, go show him some love on Steam, watch his video and wishlist it. As for my game, I don't have a Steam page live yet, but I'm getting closer every day. If you want to be the first to know when a playable demo is available for you to test out, make sure to subscribe to this channel and follow me on Discord or Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to share more of this Caribbean survival journey with you all. See you in the next vlog. Ciao!